Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where today you join me to take my Ford GT back to its spiritual home here in Detroit, Michigan. We're just outside of town at the moment. I've been visiting the Lingenfelter Collection and having a tour with Ken Lingenfelter himself to take in some of the very special cars inside. But the next stop on my tour is to take the Shmeemobile to where it was originally conceived, where the idea came together at the Ford HQ here in Detroit itself. It is absolutely freezing today. In fact, it was even snowing last night, so a big change from the recent temperatures in LA and Las Vegas. But this car is about to go back to what I think we can call its home. Maybe not where it was actually built, the factory in Canada, but taking it to the home of Ford, the heartland of Ford, here in Detroit. My fingers are quickly turning blue. It is very, very cold, but the guys here at the Auto Spa have very kindly just cleaned up the car because it was horrible, horrible weather earlier. It got very, very dirty, and actually when the GT gets dirty, it kind of accumulates dirt with all of the aero that you have all around it. And they've also given the exhaust, the new Kravitz sports exhaust, a nice clean up as well. But let's climb straight on board then, because we are heading from here to go and explore around town, to go and visit some of these Ford locations. And I don't really know where I'm going. We will see what we manage to find to get it started up so we can get some warm air blowing inside here, get the door closed down. And I also need to consider that I'm actually getting towards the end of this trip now. Unfortunately, from here in Detroit, the car is going to be going to Chicago, and it's going to be boarding a plane from Chicago to head back to Europe. This is going to be very, very sad when I have to say farewell to the car. I've got a few more stops myself, but it does mean I need to make sure that I actually end this bit of the trip with the fuel tank basically empty. It needs to be right down at the very bottom when we're ready to get it flown out, so I've got to watch that. If I go and put a full tank of fuel in it now, I've got a problem because I might not have time to actually drive it all away. But you can see we are rather cold. We've got the warning light there. It is currently 4 degrees. It was negative overnight, and I'm sure it's going to be negative overnight again tonight, and I definitely didn't pack or plan ahead for any of that. But let's head on out then, because I tell you what, this thing definitely gets some reactions out on the road. I've noticed that as well here. This is Motor City. This is the heartland of Chevrolet, of Ford, of many more manufacturing plants and the automotive industry. Of course, a city that's been changing quite a lot in recent decades itself. But we're in the GT. This is literally the home of Ford. Let's head into Detroit and go see what we can find. Fortunately, I have started to warm up a notch. That was getting a little bit cold. I know 4 degrees isn't that cold, but when you've got used to much, much warmer temperatures, it's not exactly pleasant. Anyway, where we're actually heading, I should correct myself slightly, is of course Dearborn. Dearborn is the part within, I guess, the big area of Detroit where Ford are based. Now, in a very small area, you have the Henry Ford Museum, which isn't actually Ford themselves. You also have Ford World HQ, and then nearby are a number of the different plants, so the Mustang plant, for example, where they are built. And I will also add that we are getting on towards the end of the day, so I'm not necessarily sure where I'm going to be able to go, but in any case, it feels really special right now to be bringing my car back towards its home. And this road is a little bit bumpy, so let's go to normal and then comfort mode, and that will soften things ever so slightly. I did actually originally, when I started planning this trip, intend to start in Detroit. I thought Detroit would have been, you know, fly the car into Chicago, cargo transport basically just to the main airports, and come straight here to get started in the hope of avoiding very, very winter weather. Fortunately, the weather hasn't been all that bad. It's completely fine on me, but I don't know, I've always had this kind of, I'm building up to come to where the idea for this car came together. And what you might need to remember here as a bit of backstory is that when the Ford GT was originally presented, this generation of GT, back in January 2015 here in Detroit at the auto show, basically nobody knew it was coming. It was a complete secret. The Ford team of no more than 50 people had been working on it in secrecy in a hidden room. The engineers, the designers, creating this car so that out of nowhere it was just presented as a kind of one more thing at the end of the show, where we had seen the Raptor and the GT350. And then there it was. There was the new Ford GT. And to have achieved that in the modern era with no spy shots, no talk, no discussion, no nothing, has basically been unheard of in recent times. Ford managed it with this, and then, well, this is where it happened, in Dearborn, in Detroit, and that's where we're going. And it's my second visit ever. I, of course, came to that show, but being here, and now taking this car
I think I can say back to its home. Of course, I would love to have taken it to Canada, to the factory, to Automatic, where it's assembled, where I came to see the car being assembled. But it's a lot more complex to take a car across the border into Canada than it is just to bring it to the United States. The US has a kind of waiver that makes life very easy with insurance, with registering, with being allowed to have the car here. But nonetheless, this is homeland. This is it. So let's head then into Dearborn, Detroit. Holy moly! There is a car on the side of the road ahead that is literally on fire. I hope, fingers crossed, that everybody is okay. I don't think that we're going to be going that way right now. It looks like the road is completely shut. That's insane. It's being put out right now. I can see the fireman literally putting that fire out in front of my eyes. Wow! That's ridiculous. I've never seen a car on fire. What? Yeah, everybody's just turning around. Rightfully so. You don't want to go past in case it explodes or something nuts. I just hope everyone's okay with that. I mean, fingers crossed that people managed to get out, but... What? What on earth? That's ridiculous. I've never seen that before. Turnaround time it is then, and the driver's door is actually open on that car, which of course suggests that they were able to get out, so I think everything is going to be okay. But the turning circle of this is not the best. Fortunately, we do have a little bit of extra space available right here, so we can get around, and it is now nice and warm at least. So let's go manual, let's go sport mode, because it's always more fun. No comfort setting available, of course. Look at that, there we go. And I do like this car, even without booting it. That was taking it pretty easily. It's a lot of fun. Has added just over 10 more minutes to the nav though, unfortunately. Oh well. Those of you that know the channel will be familiar with that. Fuel level low, 50 miles to empty. I might actually have to put a small amount of fuel into this, or stop driving like that. Manual, back into auto, normal, to make sure that I can get away without having to fill it up. I hope I can do this. We've got some signs here to downtown Detroit, and a second ago we actually had a sign pointing towards Canada, because of course Detroit is near Canada, and I did actually come past Detroit one other time that I didn't mention. Way back 2012, Gumball 3000, we went from New York to Toronto, and then we drove from Toronto to Indianapolis via Detroit. We actually went straight through, we didn't stop at the checkpoint. So up that way is downtown. Of course we are heading to Dearborn, which is slightly out of the centre of the whole city. That's one thing I've been getting used to during this trip, is how the centres of cities are the actual city name, and then there are all of these towns that surround. Because in Europe you have like London or Paris or Rome or Berlin or wherever it is, and that's the whole place. Here, Detroit is like just the middle, surrounded by Dearborn and whatever else you have going around it. It's quite a different way. What's about to happen is quite textbook of what happens out here. A person going past holding a phone and taking a photo. I don't know if they still were at the time they literally drove by, but I can see in the mirrors every car, and you have to watch for people just kind of slowly drifting lanes, has a phone camera out when a car like this is on the road, and you're just very aware of it. You're very aware of what's going on. I'm actually really thankful that it's a nice day, because I was worried I was just going to have a complete washout during my trip here to Detroit. It's been a slow day, I'm not going to lie, because my shoulder is actually really sore. Not that you probably needed to know that or wanted to know that at all, but for some reason I'm feeling very, very stiff and uncomfortable and not working properly today. Clearly need to rest more, but we'll save that for later. For the moment though, we're not too far away, and we're doing well on the fuel front. We've got a total 24-mile range, 5 miles to go, 19 theoretical total. I don't know why it's become normal to be okay with 19 miles to empty. That's where we're at. Anyway, next stop, Dearborn. This is my exit then, Michigan Ave. The previous road was called Ford Road, and all of the buildings that are around have big blue ovals up at the top of them. This is literally the Ford heartland. We are in Ford territory. So where exactly are we heading? That's going to be the question. To literally go and explore and see what I can find. I've not been here before. I don't really know what I'm doing. I have been here, the Detroit Auto Show, but it was about minus 25 degrees. We had snow everywhere, and we were in shuttle buses for like a day or two, just coming out here to the show. So I don't really know what I'm doing. That might be Ford World HQ, the headquarters. resisting putting my foot down through the little tunnels for the fuel situation. We have 22 miles of range, 1.6 miles to where we're going, so it's got a little bit better driving very gently, but I need to be quite vigilant and aware of that. This road is very, very, very bumpy and rough. Oh, I can see a sign, the Henry Ford, clearly in the right place. This is a good thing, it says, I think. You never really know when you're somewhere unfamiliar. Yeah, we can turn right here, and this is definitely signed as Dearborn, the Henry Ford. Bump, 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 bump. Okay. In we go then. Oh, cool. This is it. This is, I think, the home. Museum, village, factory tour, research centre, theatres, academy. I'm actually quite excited. I've brought my car to its home. Now I presume this is the time of day where everybody is going to be leaving work. And I wonder how often a Ford GT is here. There's probably going to be another Ford GT parked at the front door, knowing how these things go. But we shall see. Everybody going past, staring. Of course, it's a GT in Ford Heartland. I am being a complete tourist. I haven't got a clue where I'm going right now. I don't know this area. I am just driving around to take a little look and explore. Surrounded by Ford buildings. There is a guest drop-off area to the right. Maybe we'll go in there just to have a quick look. After all, everything's kind of closed, so there isn't really all that much to do other than check out this space. No parking, loading and unloading only. Yeah, that's what we're doing here, literally at the very front of all things Ford. This is the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation. This is a stop sign for very little purpose. There are quite a lot of those around. Continue ahead. What do we have right up in front of me? This is where my navigation has basically brought me to. We will find out in a moment. Hopefully I don't get in trouble. Police car just here. Empty police car. I think I'm allowed to be here. I haven't driven through any gates or anything like that. Avoid the puddles with my nicely clean car. Yes, parking. Oh, definitely allowed to be here then. I'm just completely lost. I don't know what I'm doing. This is what happens when you turn up. I would definitely be lying to you if I said I had a clue about what was going on here. This is basically one large indoor-outdoor exhibition. That is the sound, I think, of a train that runs around. It's now 90 years old, but I've stopped because I want to show you the Ford sign, which is kind of the other side of this wall, which is going to be a challenge for me to reach over, but you will see what I was looking at in just a second if I stretch and reach up and show you over the top here. Can we find it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is that Ford sign? Over there somewhere. There we go. That's kind of cool. Literally full stretch though, because that wall is about as tall as I can reach. And the noise in the background, I think it's closing time, probably just letting us all know. But this car is in its homeland. It's made it back, ventured back to where I suppose it began. I think one of the buildings not too far from here is literally where it was penned. And you can see I've been driving through some small stones. They end up everywhere. Like, how does a stone get there? I mean, it's got to come up from the front wheel and probably bounce its way through, which is why you PPF the entirety of the car, protection film, which is held up really well. That's, I think, a bit of cloth from cleaning cloth that's got kind of stuck underneath the trim. But the car is actually in exceptional shape, and this might be one of the penultimate or last videos that I shoot with the Ford GT here in the USA before it ventures back towards home. Well, that was definitely a train horn somewhere going on over there, but just having it here has been so insane. It will need to go back a few small little touch-ups to, I think, Topaz to get it cleaned up and prepared, but overall, no cracked window, no bad stone chips. I think just maybe, is that just a little bit of dirt? Yeah, gone, wiped off. It's immaculate, even though it's done, well, quite a lot of miles now. It is looking super, super clean. No commenting if you can see some funky reflections that there are any bits of damage, by the way. That's something I hear often. There are no bits of damage to this car whatsoever. It is held up incredibly well. And yeah, all in all, I am exceptionally happy to have been able to bring my American supercar on this American super road trip. But let's head over to go find
the HQ and see if I can work out exactly where this was made or originally created.
If I had got here a little bit earlier, or if everything had stayed open a little bit later, I might have been able to go and take a look around inside. But as it is, I'm going to head over to there, which I think is the Ford World headquarters, just basically so that I can say that this car came here. Just to put a stamp in the memory, take a quick photo. I'm pretty certain there's nothing to do inside, or even to be able to actually head in and visit, go over these little dips. But just to go there, to take this car there, I think is a cool thing in the history books to have, to say that it did. And, you know, that's what all of this is about, building up the memories and having fun with my car out here in the USA. Well, I was right about which building it is, and I swear that Ford logo up on the side of the building must be about 10 meters tall. Anyway, I wonder if there's somewhere where I can take a cool picture of this car. Let's head around and just basically see if anywhere shows to be the case. And these stop signs, there's no one here. Why do you have to stop? I mean, the law is the law, so you do have to, but it boggles my mind. You should have a main road and a minor road, and you shouldn't have to stop, and it would be more efficient and more environmentally friendly, because every car that's on the move can just flow through. Anyways, oh, there's a very bright green Mustang in there. Cool, here we are at Ford.
This is it then. My car is here at the Ford World headquarters. Never did I ever think a car of mine would venture to the home of Ford here in Detroit. We are about 3,500 miles away from home. Reality check on that, a long way. Of course, it's been further, over to Los Angeles, to San Francisco on the west coast, so almost 6,000 miles or so in total. But to have my car here, this is absurd. This is genuinely insane. This trip has been mind-blowingly epic. Sometimes I haven't really known what to say, but I really wanted to bring my car to the home of Ford, and it might not have been the most interesting video I've ever shot, but for me personally, to have done this with my car, to have been lucky enough to firstly own this car, but also to do this trip with it, and the things that I've done and the places that I've taken it to, Times Square, Miami, over the Golden Gate Bridge, all around Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, rode Atlanta, Las Vegas, driving the Strip, and so many other things along the way. I'm going to get to the end and I kind of feel like I'm going to wake up and this has all been a dream. And to have brought it now, even on this very cold day, but beautiful day, autumnal colours with the trees, the sun now setting, but this car here, I mean, it's a dream. It's genuinely a dream. I never ever thought that this could be possible. I'm actually a little bit emotional about it because I planned and dreamt about doing it for such a long time and never really considered that it might genuinely one day be possible, but it has been, and here we are, and here the car is. Wow, genuinely wow. What a journey, and thank you to all of you who have been part of it and joined me for these videos. And this, as I say, might be one of the very last with this car over on American soil. Who knows if it will ever come back. All I know is that the trip has been absolutely breathtaking. Genuinely and truly, this has been the trip of my life, going around the USA, the American supercar for the American super road trip, as I started with back in New York a couple of months ago. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So thank you very much again to everyone who has been part of this. Thank you for joining me today to bring the car here to Detroit, to its home, to Dearborn, to Ford World HQ, to the Henry Ford area. It's just, yeah, I don't really have many more words. For today though, that will be all. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been freezing, but so cool to have this car around. Anyway, thank you very much again, guys. There's plenty more to come, actually. A few more stopovers: Chicago, Las Vegas for SEMA, and then it will eventually be back home for the car. That's it for now though. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.